Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwichuk, and I'm here to talk to you about the importance of creating purpose and meaning in life. REBT can help you eliminate emotional disturbance by teaching you how to adopt flexible and non-extreme attitudes. But Albert Ellis, the originator of REBT, has long advocated engagement in what he called vitally absorbing interests. Engagement in vitally absorbing interests gives our life a certain amount of purpose and meaning and really increases our well-being in life. And I find in my work with people who have a great amount of time on their hands, whether it be someone who's physically or psychiatrically disabled, the retired individual living in assisted living, or even a single individual who just has a great deal of time because they live alone and often do not have enough activity to engage in, suffer from depression. In my view, you want to adopt healthy attitudes so that you have healthy negative feelings towards the challenging situation you face, but you also want to find ways to actively engage in life and vitally absorbing interests so that you derive meaning and purpose and actually enjoy life. We want you to go beyond emotional disturbance. And to that end, one of the rules of thumb that I have is that you rely less on TV than most people do. I find people watch TV too often, and it's a passive activity that loses its reinforcement value. And my rule of thumb is if you have time during the day, that you keep the TV off until at least 4 p.m. in the afternoon and use the day for more active pursuits. In today's intermittent reinforcement email, I list a number of activities that you might consider doing that can increase your well-being and sense of purpose. And it's your responsibility to then experiment to see which one of these activities or which collection of these activities is going to add to your life in a meaningful way. REBT argues that it doesn't matter what the interest you have are, your interest and mine will be quite different. What matters is that you have them and build them out in your life and engage in them. And so what I find is that people have certain rigid and extreme attitudes that block them from experimenting with attitudes, with activities that can enable them to derive greater meaning in life. So you need to have healthy attitudes like, I don't have to know that my experimentation in ballroom dancing, say, is going to make my life better. I'm going to try it and see if I like it. Or I don't have to have a guarantee that taking a course on Coursera is going to bring me the pleasure I think it might, but I'll give it a shot and see what happens. And I also show you how to have high discomfort tolerance, high frustration tolerance, and healthy attitudes towards bearing the discomfort of trying new things. So people very often say to themselves, it's too hard to experiment with doing a puzzle, or too hard to experiment with Duolingo and learning a foreign language. I don't really see how this will pay dividends in the long run. In my view, life is what you make it, and it's important for you to have a variety of activities that enrich your life and give your life a sense of purpose. REBT long endorses the idea that we want to increase pleasure and avoid pain. We don't want to just avoid disturbance, and so it's very important that you have the attitudes that will enable you to discover what works for you. Now, the playing field isn't level, and so some people are not going to be able to do certain things, either because of physical disability or financial limitations or some other reason. And what REBT encourages you to do is to accept that the playing field isn't level, and to then not use that as an excuse for holding yourself back and just relying on TV. Instead, we encourage you to get creative and experiment with things that you still can do. And I believe that regardless of your physical disability, your psychiatric disability, or your financial limitations, if you put on your creative hat, you still can figure out some things that might enrich your life and then go and do them and see what happens. I also encourage people to have a healthy sleep-wake cycle. I find that people who have a lot of time on their hands very often slip into a sleep-wake cycle whereby they go to bed very late at night, sleep well into the late morning, and they get out of sync with the rest of us. Instead, I encourage you to go to bed before midnight on a regular basis and to do so about the same time most nights, and then to get up most days at the same time. This is the sleep routine that will yield the highest quality of sleep. So I encourage you to read today's intermittent reinforcement, or if you're hearing me talk about this important topic on YouTube, that you click on the link below and go to my website where you can read the blog post that has more information about this topic. I would also encourage you to experiment with new activities. Life is for living, and get yourself into life and see whether or not belly dancing or writing fiction or doing some other activity that you've never tried in your life works for you. I would also encourage you to come to my weekly Saturday demonstrations on Zoom. They're held at 9 a.m. every Saturday, regardless of where I may be in the world. It's 9 a.m. here in New York every Saturday. They're free to attend, and I work with a volunteer and I show them how to adopt healthy attitudes towards the challenges they face so that they get more out of life and they experience less or hopefully no emotional disturbance when they face the inevitable challenges of life. You need the link, so write to me at rebtdoctor@gmail.com and I'll be happy to send it to you. I hope to see you on Saturday, but more importantly, I hope you experiment with vitally absorbing interest and see what turns you on.